welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me, as always, is new Michael, Kevin Jank.
I'm Ma Era. I am here, but it's backwards. Casting a spell.
Yes. Tell the kids what we're reading today, Jank.
Today we're reading the Zatanna special from DC Comics from 1987, I do believe it was.
Zatanna. This is a very foxy lady magician.
Yeah.
Zatanna. And she casts her spells by just speaking backwards.
Yep.
That did not get annoying at all.
Yeah.
Good Lord, was that brutal.
Honestly, I skipped a lot of it. I was just like, I get the
But that's how my brain is wired such a way that, I can tell myself I'm skipping it, but no, I'm still reading it backwards. I just got to. And, it really annoyed me. But anyway.
Yeah. Brutal.
That's what we're doing today. And then when Jank picked this book, he said it's a Zatanna special. But don't worry, it's not that long.
Yeah, like 32 pages maybe.
And I started reading this, and it never ended. It is so long.
Yeah. This is one where apparently when the app we use to load these things, sometimes there's so many pages that it takes forever to load them all. So apparently what I was looking at was not the entire comic yet. They were still tabulating all the different pages of this thing, trying to get them all together. So yeah, it ends up being 64 pages.
Yes, I was going to say, I just checked right before the show. 64 pages.
Yeah.
But really not that much.
It's
strange.
Very short story for 64 pages. This is not that New Mutants special where it's like, oh, you got a bunch of characters and having their own adventures and they come together. No. This is, I don't know how they filled up 64 pages, and I read the whole thing.
Just Zatanna and some dork riding a horse.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into that in a second. But before we do, let's remind everybody, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're up to 202 subscribers.
Hey!
Yeah, I picked up a couple
Palindrome.
more. Yes. Say it backwards, you'll cast a spell. But we appreciate the support. All right, Zatanna special from 1987. This was actually supposed to be a 4-issue miniseries.
Oh.
But then they cut it down and released it as a special.
They're like, this is not going to sell for issues.
Yeah.
Let's just put it in one and charge people more for that one.
We might be able to sucker people one time.
Yep.
No way we're doing it 4 times.
Nobody wants to read about this dork with the glasses for 4 issues.
Yeah, so, and they said they had to cut some pages out and stuff. You could kind of tell, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the ending especially, I would say, it seems like they wrapped it up real quick.
So Zatanna, her real name is Zatanna Zatara, and her first appearance was in Hawkman issue 4 from 1964. Although when I'm reading my notes right now, the autocorrect changed it to Hackman. So that's but Hawkman,
a superhero.
Hawkman issue 4, 1964, created by Gardner Fox and Murphy Anderson. She was the daughter of the famous magician Zatanna. Mm-hmm. And she is a member of the Homo Magi race, meaning she was born with innate magical abilities, like Cousin Pete. Wasn't he born with
That's right.
You weren't, and he was. So there was that conflict between you.
Yeah. Yep. He's always supping those waters of eternal youth.
But Zatara first appeared, Zatara the dad first appeared in Action Comics 1. So this is an old school guy, this Zatara. Yeah. And they said, all right, let's give him a daughter. Let's put her in
the Batman animated series, at least. I know Zatara was like the guy who trained Bruce Wayne in the art of, escaping, essentially. Oh. He taught him to be an escape artist. Because I guess Batman already knew that if the villains wouldn't just shoot him in the head, they would put him in elaborate death traps like giant typewriters and stuff. I thought better learn how to escape things.
I thought you were just talking like the Authority showed up at the Batcave asking questions about why Robin's down there with them. And then you could slip out the back door.
Where's that kid's pants?
So, in Zatanna's first appearance in Hawkman, she was searching for her father, and that story carried over into multiple DC comics, and it ended in 1967 in issues of the Justice League.
So those are the ones they were referencing in this one?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't remember much about this. I don't know. From 1971 to 1973, she was featured in backup stories in Adventure Comics and Supergirl. In 1977, she was featured in DC Superstars issue 11, which I think focused on magical heroes. I don't think we've ever done a DC Superstars issue, but apparently like every issue, they just focused on a different aspect of the DC comic universe.
Oh,
seems like.
Cool. Like that.
She became a Justice League member in issue 161 in 1978. And in 1982, she was a backup feature in issues 274 to 278 in World's Finest Comics. That sounds like false advertising. In 2011, she helped start Justice League Dark.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is just like the Justice League, but they investigate paranormal things.
Yeah, that's where you get like your Constantines, your Deadmans, those type of guys. Dealing with the more supernatural aspect of the world. The dark corners of the world.
And Detective Chimp as well. He's involved in that.
Yeah.
Big fan of Detective Chimp. So, all right. And the creators in this book are the writers Gerry Conway. And we've talked about him many times. The fellow who took over Amazing Spider-Man for Stan Lee when he was only 19. Stole the Punisher from a guy. We talked all about Gerry Conway. And the artist is a fellow named Gray Morrow, who I am not familiar with, but I really enjoyed the art in this book. I thought it was
there were panels that were great. Some things were great, and then some were just kind of But he also could be the scan. Clearly, this did not get like a fancy update. This was very much a old, faded comic book that was scanned.
Yes. But also he did the coloring, and I think there's a lot of interesting things done with coloring and panel design we'll talk about as we go.
Yeah, good panels, that's for sure.
Real quick on Gray Morrow, born in 1934 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. He died in 2001 at the age of 67. It's a very sad story. I don't think I want to give you the details. His life's already bad enough. Yep. So we'll just keep moving.
Oh, boy.
76.
When you did give us the story of the Dino Riders guy who died in like a salad bar, it's hard to imagine it gets worse than that.
Well, let's just say he was suffering from an illness when he was 67, and he took his own life.
Oh, yeah.
So that's sad. And he had 76 penciling credits at DC, including Action Comics, Spectre, House of Mystery, and The Witching Hour. He also he did that DC Superstars issue I mentioned about Zatanna, and he had 53 penciling credits at Marvel, including Strange Tales, Journey into Mystery, and Mark Hazard Merc, which we've never done on the show.
No, we have not.
And I think he was also
that's a new universe, right?
Yeah. I think he also was a co-creator of Man Thing.
Hey, look at that.
I think if I ever said that properly. So yeah, but we'll talk about his art later. But I'm actually a big fan of this guy after reading this. So, all right, anything else about Zatanna you'd like to tell the kids, Jack?
No. I mean, she's always been a character who obviously I've been a fan of just because of her look.
Describe her look.
Wear fishnets, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Her and Black Canary. They cornered the market on the fishnets.
That's the one thing Marvel has missed the boat on is the fishnet.
Typhoid Mary.
Yep, that's true. Yeah. That's true.
But
the bad people at Marvel can wear fishnets.
Yeah, that's right. The heroes at DC, bad girls at Marvel. But she basically dresses like a magician.
Like a stage magician, yeah. Right? Like she's got like a tuxedo essentially top and the bow tie and the ruffled shirt, like Jerry Seinfeld type thing.
And the top hat.
Yep. Little yellow cover bund and little like black underpants and then the fishnets, of course, and some nice heels.
Yeah, it's a good look.
Pretty classy.
Good look.
Got the magician's top hat and everything. Yep.
So yeah,
white gloves.
Basically, all you need: a good-looking lady in fishnets. People are hooked. Don't worry about it.
Sadly, they try to give her some other new costume in this one, which does not work as well.
No, that is. And I guess I did when I was doing research on her. I saw they updated her costume in like the 2000s or something briefly, and she had a different kind of outfit. And
no,
that didn't work either. So,
yeah,
big magician fishnets.
Classic.
That's what we need. All right. Well, why don't you describe the cover for the people, Jay?
Okay. So we got the little DC up there in the corner, and then it just says special in big letters. And apparently only $2 for this 64-page special, so that's pretty good.
$2?
Yeah.
1987, I guess.
Oh, there you go.
Pricey.
Yeah, I mean, compared to today, is not at all when you can spend $10 on one comic book. But yeah, for that time, I could see that being a little bit up there. So this, and then it says Zatanna, and the letters are just kind of slightly mystical, I guess, kind of slanty. I guess that's all they really have going on.
Kind of slant. Yeah, like a little wavy, like,
yeah.
Maybe mystical.
Waves. Yeah. And then it says, join her on her quest to find the place where magic begins. And then we got a big old shot of Zatanna in her magician outfit. And she's kind of holding the hat out and she's doing like the magic fingers, like spirit fingers, like she's a cheerleader. And out from the hat is jumping a horse, with her riding it. But she's got her new costume on there. So that's your little preview of what's to come.
Yeah, describe this new costume.
Yeah, let me go to where there's a better view of it later.
It's kind of like a one-piece bathing suit.
Yeah.
On the top with arms attached. And it's like blue on the outside, white in the middle. And then she's got big thigh-high boots.
Kind of white going down the front, like a little stripe. And a big white cape with kind of like a big red brooch in the middle. She's got a little bit of like a headdress thing going on. Like there's some red at the top of her hair and then like on the sides. And some big blue thigh-high boots.
Yeah, with black and white at the top of them, I think. Or at least white is. But, all right, so that's a new outfit. Stick to the stage magician. That's all we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we see some kind of, in the orange background, we get some shots of some like ghosty looking demony things. And there's also a big purple snake kind of running around the bottom of this thing, coiled and ready to strike. And it says a triple-sized adventure, which I should have read that more carefully when I first
Triple-sized is correct. Adventure?
Yeah.
Not so much.
Yeah.
All right, so there it is. There's the cover. And the cover is also by Gerry.
On the inside. Yeah, the inside we get a nice like pinup of her in her stage magician outfit, black and white, but looks pretty classy.
Yeah. That's also by Gerry Morrow. And then we open up the book and we see Zatanna. She's not in her outfit yet. She's just in a robe and she's like preparing to go on stage and she's looking in the mirror and we see a blue face in the mirror overlooking her. And we learn later that, that's her mother.
It's a force ghost of her mother.
Yeah. Her mother's name is not Cinderella. It's not Spinderella, but it's something like that. It's
Cindella.
Cindella.
Not Cindel from Mortal Kombat either. Yeah.
All right. But yeah, her mother and her father are both dead.
Yep.
Now, did you ever hear how that Zatanna fella died?
It seems like they mentioned it in here. There was some kind of a disease, right?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think they probably changed it a couple times. But the one story I read, she was in a seance or something with, I think, Constantine. This was probably a later version of things, I'm guessing. And they were all holding hands. There was like four, and he was only taking part of this seance because he didn't trust Constantine around his daughter. He wanted to protect her from Constantine. And, but somehow they summoned some evil demon. And he just by looking down at them, his gaze was so evil, he burst you into flames. And he looked down at the one guy who was with him, I don't remember, he burst into flames. And then he was looking down at Zatanna too. But then her dad took it instead of Zatanna, so he sacrificed himself to save Zatanna. That's a story I read.
Frickin' Constantine.
Yeah.
Why would anyone ever hang out with that guy?
Yeah.
I think bad things happen.
It never ends well, Constantine. All right, so she's in her dressing room getting ready to go out on stage, and then here comes Jeff. Jeff Sloan. This is her
boy. This guy's like the Willie Scott of this story.
I don't know what that means. Or I don't know what that means.
Willie, you remember Willie from Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
Kind of along for the adventure, always bitching.
Yeah.
Wet blanket the whole time.
This guy, he reminds me of Mark Maron in Glow. Like the look of mustache and glasses and the hair. Yeah. And so he's her manager, is Jeff. I think his name is Jeff Sloan. And his first appearance, like this isn't his first appearance or anything. He'd been around, this Jeff Sloan. Let me check his one description here on DC Fandom because it has a pretty funny little thing for him. But his first appearance was Adventure Comics 413 in issue 1971. And did I say issue 1971? You know what I meant. Len Wein and Gray Morrow created him. Len Wein. So, but here's the description of him here in his history. He was also romantically interested in her, Zatanna, but she made it clear they were just good friends.
The ultimate simp, Jeff Sloan.
Well, better luck next time, Jeff. But
this issue makes it seem like there is something, but I guess maybe
she
not.
seems in them in a pretty big way here. But
like the mom's like, hey, the road's clear for you now. Like, go get her, Tiger.
But maybe shave that mustache and then go get her. And but anyway, so Jeff's telling her, hey, you ready to go out there on stage? She's like, yeah, I'll be out there in a minute. But she's reflecting on something. Now, we don't even know why she's concerned. Did you even notice that blue face in the mirror? I had to go back when they say because later on when they mentioned she saw her mother's face in the mirror, I'm like, wait a minute, did she? And I went back and looked.
Because they really focused on her looking at herself in the mirror, and then it was just kind of the one panel where it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of over her shoulder.
Yeah, she's good looking. So everyone's looking at Zatanna. All right, so then she goes out on stage, Zatanna, and she's in her little outfit there, and a bunch of doves are flying around. And this issue is called Summoning. Now, did you notice that nowhere in this issue could you ever see where the writer and artist were credited?
No, I did notice that actually. I was looking at it and I could not figure it out. Maybe it's that little white writing in the black over there.
Well, I think that says art by Gray Morrow. But I couldn't read that last name.
Nothing for the writer at all.
Yeah. So I had to look it up to see who was actually responsible for this. Like Gray Morrow is credited as the colorist, and they have 3 letterers credited. Ben Oda, Harry Spiegel, and John Costanza. So good job on you.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, Gerry Conway.
He just didn't want to be associated with this. He's like, I
did Spider-Man. What am I doing here? Around here is Zatanna. All right. But again, look at the coloring on these pages, the purples and everything. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jenks. So we turn the page here and we see Zatanna up on stage and,
this was a cool page. I like this one here with the little 3 kind of oddly shaped panels. This one's
like the bottom one's like a triangle or a pyramid shape. And then,
the other 2 kind of split the rest of the page.
Yeah. He does a lot of cool stuff with page layouts.
Yeah, I'll give him that for sure.
So, but she's just standing there doing her little trick. What is she doing here? Floating a match or something? Or
I guess so.
I don't know.
Make fire appear. And meanwhile, Jeff Sloan, he's also lighting himself up a match, and he keeps seeing like a silhouette of a lady in his match flame. Like it keeps turning into like a lady. So I guess he's going to be the Phoenix, this guy.
Yeah, I know. That's a pretty cool trick. The dancing lady every time you light a match. But yeah, it freaks him out. So he kicks the match aside. And then he's like, yeah, that's a filthy habit. I don't know why I started smoking again. Yeah.
Because he wanted to impress Tuffy. That's why.
Our buddy Tuffy. Yeah. But
then she's doing her show. She brings up like a person from the audience, a volunteer, to do a trick with her, and she pulls out a newspaper and she's like, "Oh, would you read the headline of this paper for us, sir?" And he's like, "This isn't gonna bite me, is it?" And she says, "No, sir. I promise it won't." And then all of a sudden, a giant snake pops out.
Yeah, it's gonna bite him.
Yep. Yeah, sure was. And she does her weird backwards spell for the first time. And it says, we get a little note here, to decipher Zatanna's spell, read each word backwards. And I was like, nope, no thanks.
Yeah, because you don't read the sentence backwards, just each individual word backwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that confused me at first. I'm like, oh, do I read the sentence? No. So
go back.
Like, let's just do the first one here. Guard sit eraterk ot Rudy Ruo Yerif Shittiped.
That's what they can get away with swear words, is if you.
And that means drag this creature to your fiery depths. So
yeah. I mean, it's a strange way to do spells. Apparently, you can just say whatever you want, but as long as you're saying it backwards, then it becomes a spell. It's like, all right. I like it better when there's just a set of words.
Yeah, cuff away. Yeah, but anyway, so that's my spell backwards. But anyway, so Zatanna is, this wasn't part of her act.
No.
Know? She, this snake didn't mean for this to happen. What do you think her original trick was when she told the guy to open the paper? What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know of any tricks that start with reading the headline from a paper.
Maybe a monkey popped out?
Maybe she would somehow, put his name into the paper.
But she gets that snake to go into the fiery depths, and the audience loves it because they think it's all part of the act. And look, in the second panel there, it looks like George Burns is in the audience. They got the cigar. That looks a lot like George Burns. Anyway, but Jeff is like all distressed, But anyway, they're driving home after the show. They drive home together, and Jeff's in the passenger seat. He makes Zatanna drive. You're the agent. You should be driving the talent. What are you doing?
Yeah, or have a limo for her or something. No, he's just like, yep, you car me around.
And then he lights up a dart.
15%. Yeah, in her car. What a jerk.
I know. But once again, Jack, as soon as he lights that match, dancing lady. And Zatanna looks over.
This time, Zatanna sees it, and she's like, oh, that's my mom's face.
Yeah, my mom's a dancing lady. Put some clothes on, Ma. Why are you dancing in front of...
Trying to steal my man?
But next thing you know, a big fire comes spouting out of a manhole in the street, and she slams on the brakes, and they get in a little bit of an accident there, and Jeff conks his head, and he's unconscious. He's a delicate flower, this Jeff.
Oh, my God, he's paid so many times. I don't know why she brings him.
So how does Zatanna handle the fire in the streets there, Jack?
She uses one of her backwards talking spells to open up the fire hydrant and, have it shoot over at the fire and put it out. Yeah. Kind of bends in the middle of the air.
Now, then she takes Jeff home and apparently takes his clothes off.
Yeah.
Puts him in the bed. So at this point in the book, I assume they were lovers.
Yeah, sure seems like it.
Yeah, I mean, she takes him to her house, takes his clothes off, puts him in bed.
I mean, Hollywood and, there are weird things with people and their agents, I guess. So, I don't know.
And she's just walking around in a little robe, too, And they seem very comfortable like that around each other. And he's got a bandage on his head there. And he starts to, he's kind of like getting a little flirty with her, right? Or he's asking her for he wants to know about her mother. And she's always reluctant to tell him about her backstory and everything. Mm-hmm. And her history, So is this when he gives the speech about her putting up walls between us?
Yep. Yeah. He's like, I've been trying to get you to open up for years and you won't do it. So if you don't do it right now, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
He's like, all right. Fine, great, see you around. Slams the door. And then 2 seconds later, knock, knock. I forgot you've got my clothes. And then she's like, oh, Jeffrey.
Yeah, because she was crying. She had her back to him while he was leaving and she was crying so he couldn't see. But yeah, she's really happy to see him. And she goes and hugs him in the hallway. They're both in robes. And there's an old lady in the background, like B. Arthur, looking at her. Like, oh my goodness, what's that swinging couple up to? But,
why is he wearing that pink robe?
So now we cut, and again they're driving in a different car this time. And once again, Zatanna is still driving. Jeff, what does he bring to this relationship? Come on, Jeff. What are you doing?
He must be a booker extraordinaire because other than this, he's got nothing.
And he's also the kind of guy that wears a turtleneck with a sport coat over top of it.
Yeah.
One of those guys.
That's not good. He definitely would have been a killer on Columbo at some point.
Yes. Yes, this could be a Columbo mystery. He's taking her up into the woods to leave her dead body. But, Jeff. This Jeff guy. Zatanna deserves so much better than Jeff.
Yeah.
But she's taking him up to like her family estate, right?
Yep.
Like her father's old house. What is it? It's got a name like
Oh yes,
Dollywood or something. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think they say it at some or somewhere here, but yeah.
But they're enjoying cocktails at some little bistro or something, and she's telling them about her family and
how her mom was a homo magi, and then her dad like stumbled into the city or something, and she left with him because I guess he also had homo magi blood but didn't know it. Like he was, had like latent blood or whatever. I don't know. So then she leaves because apparently the homo magi are very susceptible to human influence. So it sounds like maybe this wasn't entirely on the up and up. Like he pretty much just roofied the mom and took her. Or at least the magical equivalent.
And so they're walking through like the woods and stuff, and a lightning bolt cracks down right in front of them and nearly knocks them off a cliff. And they're like, all right, let's just get to the house. And then boom, the next page, the next panel, they're just walking in a door. We don't even get like an outside shot of the house or anything. Did we get one earlier? No.
No. They're just driving. Yep.
I'm guessing that's one of the pages that they cut out when they made it a special for a miniseries. We don't need to see the house.
We don't need to establish it, Chad. We'll see it later on. Although it does become very important later on that there's, something that is suddenly there that's not supposed to be there. So maybe an establishing shot would have been nice so that we could have known.
So when they get
supposed to be there.
When they get to the house, it's kind of like a magical house and stuff, and it has a manservant there who takes care of the house, like a groundskeeper.
It's like her version of Wong, basically.
Yeah, his name is Kasim, Kasim, and he's an Indian fellow with like a pink turban and a big white beard, and
loves trying to make people broth.
Yeah.
Not even full soup, just the broth. That's all you get.
But I also like how the first panel we see her walking with Jeff behind and then Cassim, and then Jeff starts talking to Cassim in the second panel. And he's like, hey, decided to hang around after the old guy died? It is my duty and my pride. Whatever, says Jeff. What a jerk. And he says he believe in magic, Cassim. And they have this little conversation, and like, Zatanna's gone. Like, she's not even around anymore. Like, she just came in and left, and Jeff is talking to Cassim. And they have a conversation about magic and whether it's real. And he sees a naked lady dancing around in the smoke of his dart. And next thing you know, he goes and he's knocking on the door for Zatanna. Like, again, we never won't even know where she went.
Yeah, thanks for wandering off and leaving me with your butler.
And he's like, kiddo, we've got to talk. And they have a real serious conversation about all this magic stuff. Because he does not believe in magic. You know?
Well, now she doesn't believe that, that her mother is appearing to him in smoke, even though she saw it earlier and she was like, hey, that's my mom's face. Like, now all of a sudden she's like, no, that's crazy.
Yeah, but again, I like the art here. And I really like that panel of her kind of hugging herself and he's in the background. Looking good. And then she says, all right, there, she storms up. She goes, I don't know. And then boom, next thing you know, she's like, Jeff, I've made up my mind. I'm ready to go. And she's in a whole new outfit.
Yeah. All of a sudden I have this new costume.
Again, I think
all
some pages,
sewing.
some pages may have been removed between those two things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now she's in that new costume that Jank described. She was riding the horse on in the cover. And that's right. They get magical horses, the two of them. They each get their own horse.
I don't even think they're magical horses. I think they're just regular horses.
Aren't they flying?
Yeah, it doesn't spell though. I think she's just doing that.
But I assume they had to be magical to fly. Because I don't know.
Clouds open a path. Steeds ride the wind.
Oh, steeds ride the wind.
Yeah, she's got spell. To let him ride yeah.
The normal horses with magic cast upon them. And they just ride off into the sky. And Cassim says, may Allah guide you both. And off they go. And the sky's getting all weird and wonky looking. And they just keep riding. But again, look at the coloring on these pages. It's pretty great. He's doing a lot of cool things here. A lot of pinks and blues and greens and oranges and man.
Yeah, it keeps like changing every panel basically. There's a whole new color scheme.
Yep. And the next page then is more dynamic coloring, and they're just riding these horses. He's just
complaining and making jokes that are terrible and don't work, and none of Jeff really is hitting home for me.
And at some point, some of them says in passing, I think it's a giant snake and it's going to eat us, but I don't even remember seeing a giant snake. And then, like, the next thing you know, they're saying they believe they're in the belly of a giant snake, and sure enough, we see a giant snake.
Yep, a giant snake floating in space,
and they're inside the belly of a giant snake.
Yep. Good times.
So I don't know. The next several pages, it's just them wandering around this belly, and like
she makes a spell that like makes her match turn into like a full-on light, so everything's lit up in there. And then they see some stomach acid, or like they see the venom or whatever dripping down, I think, and starts burning away. They're like, oh, we better watch out for that.
They like scorched the cape of her new outfit. So the cape got burned off. But yeah, they're just going through the digestive tract of this snake.
Yeah.
For several pages.
Last episode, all of a sudden.
Yeah. Several pages this is going on. And then she casts the spell to give them like body armor and make the horses like knights or something.
Yeah, I think first she casts a spell to give herself a sword, and then she's like, give us weapons and armor, and then all of a sudden they got that. Yeah, then they find a whole skeleton of some other creature that the snake must have eaten at one point.
And then later, eventually we see a little panel in the middle of one page where you see them like they're in a crystal ball and someone's watching them. We don't see who it is watching them, but they say, well, this news is both good and bad. We've escaped the snake, but I don't know where we're going. And the mysterious person says, to your grave, Zatanna, to your grave. And she starts laughing. But, so then the horses just like fall out of the sky. That one horse, man, he lands right on his back.
Yeah.
That's a bad bump. That's like coming off the Hell in a Cell.
The Derby horse, because he's going right to the glue factory now.
And they're outside their home city of the secret city of the Homo Magi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently it doesn't have an actual name. They're just
I was looking for the name. I can't see it.
We don't need it. It's a secret. We don't have just a sign. Like Twin Peaks.
It's just like I remember it from my mother's funeral. Only where are the people? And they start riding around and everyone's on the street just dying. They're all dying, Jack.
Yeah.
He says, from an unknown sleeping sickness. Oh, I hope I don't have that. That's why I have to take a nap every day after dinner.
You definitely do.
And he says, only one thing can save us. The life-giving power of the medulla oblongata. Save us.
She's like, your mother was the last one who had that. And she's like, no. I've got one too. So we're saved.
I was born with a medulla jewel in my brain. That had to be painful.
It's got to enlarge your skull, which means the giving birth process must have been extra painful.
Oh man, she was born with a jewel in her brain. And Jeff, the whole time, Jeff's in the background like, hey, Zatanna, do me a favor. Don't volunteer us for anything.
Yeah, he's like, we can just go home. Why are you even here, Jeff?
I asked myself that so many times throughout this issue. And,
you must wear the optic gem and go to the Temple of Hope. Once there, place the power crown upon your head and cast the spell of cures. This is like a video game quest, essentially.
And she's like, all right. But I don't know the spell of cures. The chosen one will know. But she must know.
He's like, the crown will give it to you. Don't worry. Yeah. She goes.
She put that crown, and then boom, next panel, she's putting that crown on her head.
It was quite the adventure, getting to the crown.
So then Jeff's like, you sure you want to put that crown on your head there, lady? And she's like, yep, let's do it. Boom, she puts it on her head. Yay! She starts screaming. And the next page, we get a big splash page of her, having some troubles there. And in the background, we see, like, in pink, all these people screaming and crying and yelling.
Kind of like Cerebro, like it's like enhancing her mental powers, and now she can feel everyone's pain.
Yeah, she's basically taking all their pain into herself.
Mm-hmm.
She's absorbing it all, and to heal them, she's taking it all in her own body, and she just kills over dead. It looks like she's dead. And Jeff comes running over. Zatanna, I love you. You can't die. My life would be nothing without you. Your life's pretty terrible with her. So don't worry.
You didn't even get to drive.
And he's crying on her. And then she starts to wake up. And he's like, Zatanna. And,
you're alive. And soggy.
He was crying on her. And he's like, oh, that's temple water. I tried to revive you with it. She's like, oh, really?
Why is the temple water so sticky?
And then they go next panel, boom, they're back in front of all the people from the Magic City, and Zatanna's being held as a queen, and they're like, oh, she saved us. Oh, hell, Zatanna.
Like, you're the chosen one we've always been waiting for.
And yeah, did we, the whole point of them going to this Magic City is because she thought all the times they were seeing her mother, like her mother's beckoning her to go home to that city. That's why they went.
Yeah.
I don't know if we established
just that. Like, she was feeling listless and doesn't know what her purpose is, so I think she went here just to figure out what her purpose is or whatever. What needs guidance and.
Yeah. She feels like something is blocking her true magical essence. And she doesn't know what it is. So this guy says, hey, why don't you stay here and be our queen? You know, you're the chosen one. You wear the crown. You're the tops. And she's like, nah, I got to get this Jeff guy back home. He's a loser. I got to get this guy back home. And they're like,
3 nights in Reno this weekend. This is not a good time.
I think this guy from the Magic City, he says, well, why don't you go to this special shrine and meditate on the question or something, and then you'll know the answer. You'll get the answer of what you should do. You know? And I think that's the premise here, right? Isn't that what he tells her?
Yeah, I think so.
And she's like, great, here we go again, another adventure. But another one-panel adventure, because right away they're right back there, right? Oh, well, I guess they do have to ride the horses a little bit.
It's the top of the plateau, and then, like, Jeff says something about, like, oh, what was supposed to be this chasm of fear? I guess that didn't work out. And then as soon as he says that, like, it opens up, and the ground opens up, and there's all these demon ghost things in the air, and they're just kind of taunting them, and Zatanna's like, oh, just don't pay attention to them, and they can't do anything to you.
But again, more cool coloring here from Gray Morrow. Again, like one panel is all orange, one's all blue, one's all green, one's all pink. It's pretty awesome. And then eventually, once they make
visions of her parents, and starts making her kind of go wonky. So it's up to Jeff to save the day by smacking her horse in the ass to get her out of there.
And once they do get through all that fear, there are quiet moments that will be remembered throughout a lifetime. And he says, hey, kid, you all right? She says, yes, thanks to you. And they kiss.
Big old kiss.
And then in the third panel, it looks like she's kissing his jaw, his chin. I don't know what's going on in that third panel.
He's trying to swallow it.
But he's like, Z, look, the shrine, we're almost there. And then he's thinking to himself, that's really good, Sloan. Why can't you say what you mean, what you feel? It's your giant pussy, Jeff. That's your problem.
Yeah, you suck, Jeff.
And then she says, oh, the shrine. And then there's a mystical druid there. It's not Dr. Druid, but it's a druid. And he says, enter Zatanna. And already Jeff's calling her honey. He's like, honey, a word of caution before you go in. Watch out for strangers who know your name. And then the druid guy calls him Jeffrey Sloan.
Yep.
Look out.
Yeah. His name's Cole. Because everything's always on sale there.
And he leads them down to like some mystical hot tub. Or a wishing well.
Like, I'm ancient. I'm like 1 million years old, but these waters have kept me alive all this time, except until just this moment when now I'm all of a sudden going to die. Now the waters have failed.
And he shows them, like, there's a statue in the middle of this little pool there, and it's a statue of Zatanna.
Yeah.
So I guess because she's the chosen one. But she's trying to talk to this guy. And what does he tell her? You cannot leave, even as my life ends. Your first challenge approaches. Face the challenge, cleanse your soul in the eternal waters. Let them carry you to another plane. Only thus can you hope to save your inner self. And of course, Jeff constantly, Z, we got to leave. And she's like, no, first there are answers I must have from Cole. And he says, no time, the optic gem, guide you. Boom, he turns to dust.
Yep. Good thing they didn't waste, if they took 5 more minutes going up that hill, they would have missed him completely.
And Jeff says, Z, move it, we're in big trouble. And there's like this ghostly creature.
Ninja,
that is forming. Yeah.
The ghost ninja.
And so to get away from that ghost, of course, what you want to do is dive into a little puddle of water. Just dive into that pool there. And
well, it's mystical water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they dive into the mystical water. Well, first, I guess she summons some creatures out of the mystical water or something, right? Or to fight it or something. Or I don't know what's going on.
I think, maybe. Yeah.
But then they jump in the water, and now we see another lady. And this is a problem I had with this issue. I thought, is this just Zatanna again? Like, it looks exactly like Zatanna.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to have
a lot of there.
Yeah, this lady's name is Allura, Allura, and she's like an evil sorceress lady. But here's an idea, though. If your hero is a foxy black-haired lady, and you want to have another foxy magician lady, make her a redhead or a blonde. It helps out.
Anything but black hair, yeah.
They look exactly alike. Yeah. But no, this is Allura. And
totally different.
And she says, even as I snatch you from the water, so shall I, Zatara's daughter, and in doing make your destiny my own. Ah, ha, ha, ha. And she's got a couple of weird little boots. She has one boot that goes up to the knee and one boot that goes above the knee. That's an interesting.
That's how you know she's evil. Mismatched her boots.
So they're underwater and they're starting to drown there. And, and she's fearing for Jeff. So she casts a spell to send Jeff back home.
I think this is where they say the name. Shadowcrest, that's it.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Shadowcrest. And next thing you know, Zatanna's waking up and she's in a grassy meadow. And what? It's her home. She's home too. Oh, what a relief.
The spell worked better than she thought, apparently.
Yeah, so what happens here, Jay?
She sees her dad. Her dad's just like, hey, when you cured everybody at the home of Magi Secret City, you also cured me from death. Didn't think that was possible, but here I am. Everything's good. And so he's like, let's go to the house, and, everything's going to be great now that you're home. And there's some weird-looking tree branch that's got, a face in it, and the branches kind of look like arms, distended arms. So it's like, what's going on here? Is this like a Josie and Twin Peaks situation where she got into it?
I like that we have 2 Twin Peaks references in this episode.
That's right.
Yeah. So now we see Zatanna. It's the middle of the night. She's waking up in a frilly little nightie. And she's walking around the mansion. And her buddy Kasem is there.
Yeah. Wants to give her some broth. That'll fix everything.
And
like, no, I'm tired of broth. Get out of here.
And she's like, something doesn't feel right about all this, seems a little weird, even though this is great and all. Notice when she's here, not one time does she ask where Jeff is.
No. Yeah, she's better off without him.
But she's like, no, something's weird about this. Hey, there's a tree out there in the yard. There shouldn't be a tree there. You never had a tree there.
In our massive mansion, we never had any tree.
And it would have been impossible for a tree to be there in this magical land. So I'm clearly not in my home. And yeah, it's Allura. She was just conjuring this whole fantasy to try and keep Zatanna happy and stupid. Just keep her not wanting to cause any trouble.
Yeah. Apparently Allura should have done a better job, if she had had like a better attention to detail, like she could have actually made it look more like her home, and this would have worked. But
this reminded me of, do you remember that Uncanny X-Men? I think it was annual, I want to say 11. I don't know if that's right. But they were fighting some big orange guy, who I know it was. But he created every X-Men. He gave them like their dream come true. So they're all living out their fantasies.
yeah.
But Wolverine fought through it. And,
yep.
Yeah.
Of course he did. He's about it.
So anyways, Zatanna snaps out of him and she realizes it's all just a fantasy, and then she comes face to face with Allura. And again, like before I read the issue, like I always flip through and get screen grabs and stuff, and I thought this was like Zatanna talking to her evil self, because it looks just like Zatanna talking to Zatanna.
Especially when it started out with her in the dressing room looking at herself in the mirror.
Yes.
Sense. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I just assumed they were going for here. But no, it's actually a different lady. And this Allura's got like a little pet monkey, like a goblin monkey.
Yeah, like a Salacious Crumb for Jabba the Hutt.
That's right. And so they start fighting it out, Allura and Zatanna. But
it turns out like here, because this is Allura's like home, Zatanna's backward spells don't work here. She's like, that's crap. That doesn't work here.
Yeah, that's bush league stuff. It's minor league. You're up in the show now, Zatanna. You're
10-ply.
Yeah. And then we get a couple interesting perspective shots here of their asses on both pages. So, but again, interesting panel design. We see Allura with her back to us in the middle, and then little panels in each corner. Well, not little, but big panels in each corner.
Panels got like a weird gem shape. Almost. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, because she wants to get that gem from Zatanna. It's some magic gem that Zatanna had, not the one in her brain, the one she's carrying around.
Yeah.
That's all her power there, but they just start fighting, and then Zatanna sees that that tree was actually her mom. Yeah, that tree was her mom trying to warn her, and she's like, "Mother Cinderella, you come to me from beyond death."
Cinderella, cut it up one time.
Tell me what to do. And her mother's not talking. She's just like looking at her and imploring her with her eyes and stuff. And she's like, tell me. And then boom, now her mother appears and she's actually talking to her. And it's almost like they're in some little fantasy land, just the two of them. Like an astral plane.
Island.
I wish. In the plane. She's like, no, daughter, but you cannot rest. All the answers you seek are within your grasp. The source of magic.
She's like, so far, I'll never make it. She's like 2 feet from the water. All you got to do is reach over. You're there.
Yeah. So basically she's telling her like, hey, you got all you need, to be this great magician. You just got to believe,
Gives her, some kind of flowery nonsense about like, oh, everything's a cycle, life and death, and life is the source of magic. Feelings. The real magic is the friendships we made along the way, that type of thing.
And Zatanna says, death is the ultimate enemy, and she says, you are wrong. And what does she tell her?
She's like, the real enemy is inside you from the time you're born.
You must destroy the enemy, daughter of my heart, or it will destroy you. And she says, what enemy? What enemy, mother? And what enemy do you think, little girl? Me. And these are some goblins from Allura coming to get her. Yeah. And she's like, who are you?
It looks like Steak shows up.
Yeah, like, and all blue Zatanna now.
Yeah.
And she's like, don't you know, haven't you always known, I am the enemy you cannot escape. I am you.
Ta-ta. Yep. The enemy is my despair. She figured it out.
Yeah, her self-doubt and her despair and all that stuff. So, just got to believe in yourself, Jack, and you can make anything happen.
Yep. Just like Mr. T said, you got to be somebody or you'll be somebody's fool.
So she fights off this blue giant demon Zatanna, her evil self, and I don't know. She casts.
And then all of a sudden, like, we never see Allura again. Like, I don't know where she went. She was just defeated apparently because she freed her, like, because Zatanna freed herself from these tendrils. Allure's just like, oh, I guess I'm peacing out.
I mean, we could have seen her. I mean, one of those pictures of Zatanna could have been her. I don't know. They all look alike. Zatanna, evil Zatanna, Laura, who knows? But yeah, after she breaks through the tendrils, we get a big splash page of her being all happy. She's like, life is the source of magic. I am strong again. Begone. And then we cut back to Jeff at the mansion there, Shadow Crest or whatever, Falcon Crest or whatever the hell he is. And he's talking to Chasm or whatever his name is. And I don't know. He's like, she cares for you, Mr. Sloan. And then her mother appears. She's like, your time will come, Jeffrey Sloan. Just wait in line.
Cinderella, my daughter nears the climax of her journey, Jeffrey Sloan. What she finds at journey's end will change her. The way will be eased if you are waiting here for her. So he's like, this is your time. Get in there.
So he's like, all right, I sense her coming back. I'm going to go get her. So he walks out of the mansion, and Zatanna just pops up in the grass again.
Passed out drunk on the lawn again. He's like, again. I'll help you to the bathroom. Hold your hair while you puke.
But he's waiting for her there in the grass, and they stand up and together. But they're not holding hands. She's kind of reaching to pinch his ass in the final page. Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, she kind of is.
But she says the cycle of life is complete, and in the tree above them, it's her mother and father smiling down at her. So, Zatanna has found her true self. And,
yep. Hopefully her true self is not that costume, because go back to the normal one.
If you notice in the last panel, that cape has healed itself, because remember the acid burned through the tail
right.
before. But
I
guess it is a magical cape.
Yeah, it can do anything.
So that's it, Zatanna. She found her true self. She's a full magician now. Yeehaw. What an adventure it was. 64 pages.
Although it seemed like they're also saying, like, oh, you can't really do all this magic stuff if you leave here. Like, you can only do it here. That's why they wanted her to stay. So, but I guess by finding the source of magic, she is able to still do it in the outside world just as well.
Yeah. So I guess they wanted her to stay in that city and rule them as their queen, because she had that crown, and like she can't wear that crown outside. You know? Yeah,
that's.
And then the next page, we get Comic Buyer's Guide Fan Awards for 1986, and you can vote. Favorite editor, because when I was a kid, I had my favorite editor. That's the one thing it's really. I can't wait to read.
You had posters of them on your wall, I'm pretty sure.
My favorite editor. Favorite writer, favorite penciler, favorite inker, colorist, letterer. Oh, Ben Oda. Always Ben Oda. That's the correct answer. Favorite cover artist, favorite comic book story, favorite comic book, favorite limited comic book series, favorite graphic novel, favorite character, favorite publication about comics. Man. Phil Seuling Award for favorite direct sale only title.
Oh boy, that's a tough battle, I'm sure, every year.
So you had to tear this page out of your comic, fill it out, and then mail it to Comic Buyer's Guide Fan Awards. Like over under, how many people do you think did that? Like more than 1,000?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
All right. Then next page we have an ad for Suicide Squad. Wanted. Yeah. They got all their wanted posters up on the wall.
Mind boggler. Wow. Even in the early days, they were reaching for villains, apparently.
And look, they had their own Enchantress at DC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did have Enchantress in that first terrible Suicide Squad movie, but at least this Enchantress looks better than that one did.
Yeah. All right, so that's Zatanna. Again, 64 pages of really not much.
Yeah. Some of the pages at least were kind of like big splash panels, or
yeah, there are a lot of big panels.
Yeah.
Again, I really like the art. This is my kind of art, this style. So classic comic book art. Love the coloring. So I'm a big Gray Morrow guy now going forward. I'll be looking for more stuff from him. But the writing from Gerry Conway, Before we started doing this show, if you asked me if I was a Conway fan, I said, yes, I love Gerry Conway. Because I'd only read, really his early Spider-Man stuff. And since we've been doing this show, I can't name one issue I've liked outside of Spider-Man. And we've done a lot of Gerry Conway.
Yeah, we sure have. Yeah, none of them leap to mind as being particularly memorable now.
This Jeff guy is terrible. He's just awful. and here's, you got to be careful when you have a strong, beautiful female protagonist in a book. You don't want to saddle her with some dopey guy. It's just terrible.
It does make it tough, yeah.
Yes.
Especially when he brings nothing to the table the whole time. Yeah. Other than spanking that horse on the butt. Like, what else did he do this whole issue?
Just cried and complained and passed out. That's all Jeff did the whole time.
Made terrible jokes that didn't work. He made a lot of references to, like, Hollywood that I didn't get.
Oh, I don't even remember those.
It was like, you cast better than Fenton and Feinstein or something like that. I don't know. What are you talking about?
That was his favorite casting director. He filled out a poll in the back of a
yeah.
Yeah, this Jeff's terrible. He needs to go. Just riding horses through the belly of a snake. What? What are we doing?
Yeah, that stretched on. And again, they could have been more of an ending. I wanted to see some kind of resolution to the Allura thing.
Yes.
Been nice.
Yeah, you definitely get the sense that pages were cut from this. Like the sudden transitions and scenes. Like, good luck on your journey to get that crown, and then boom, next panel, she's got the crown on her head. Oh, here we go. I don't know.
On another adventure. Wait, when did you have the first adventure? There really wasn't anything.
Man, how dull would 4 issues of this have been if they had to cut it down to 64?
Yeah, I mean, that's the only saving grace really here is the 64 pages went by somewhat quickly because there really wasn't as much dialogue or anything happening. It was kind of more visual than anything.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't like the story at all. I like Zatanna as a character.
Yeah.
Because, fishnets.
I think I like her more. I would like her if she was having more kind of Constantine-esque adventures where she was dealing with like magic in the real world rather than a mystical city and, and all this kind of stuff. Like, that's not my favorite. I like a little bit more real world mixed in, even if you're doing magic.
Yeah. It was also kind of a weird, like, how Allura just pops in at the end and, like, she's this big villain throughout this whole thing when.
Yeah.
Like if Allura was somehow orchestrating everything from the beginning, like pretending to be your mother to lure her into a trap or something, but she wasn't.
Yeah.
That's not what was happening.
Like you could have done this more where she was like, she starts out, her magic goes wrong in one city and then it ramps up. The next city she goes to, something else happens even worse. And it's like kind of a mystery the whole time. Like, who's doing this? And she's got to start investigating it. Like there could have been some good real world mystery aspects to this rather than just the let's ride horses through the air and go to a fantasy.
Yeah, I hated this story very much so, but I did like the art a lot. So I don't know. We talked about more of the coloring, the panel designs, and Zatanna always looked good, so that's important.
Yep.
I don't know. Overall, maybe a 5. I don't know, just because I like the art. But
I think I'd probably go 4, but yeah, you're not too far off.
Yeah, if I didn't like the art so much, it'd be like a 2. I'm a big fan of the art.
Yeah. The story definitely needs some work for sure.
Yeah. Gerry Conway. How does he keep getting away with it? This Gerry Conway guy. I don't know. But
he did for a long time, that's for sure.
A very long time. Sorry, that's Zatanna. All right, next week on the big show, a couple things we do here in Flea Market Fantasy, like an issue like Zatanna or last week's Dead Man. We like to experience these new characters we don't know a lot about. We pop around and try to learn, But then, like the classic Flea Market Fantasy issue is an old comic book issue from a popular character that you never knew existed, but you just it's a crazy batshit story, and you're like, oh, this will be awesome. That's what Flea Market Fantasy is in the traditional sense. So next
page one is like $20 from Dr. Doom.
That's right, Luke Cage. How much? What is $200? I think.
Yeah, okay, slightly better. I wish it was just $20. That would be amazing.
It's 200
like
if I remember properly. Yeah, Doctor Doom owed Luke Cage money. That was a great issue. Or like when another Luke Cage one when he fought Mr. Fish. Remember that?
Yeah, Luke Cage had all kind of fun.
So this one next week we're going to do Incredible Hulk issue 209 from 1976. This is by Len Wein and Sal Buscema, and the Hulk fights Absorbing Man.
Oh, nice.
And it takes place on a construction site, just like the Mr. Fish issue, actually. But it's pretty cool because we've never done Absorbing Man on the show in the whole history. So he's a cool villain, and we'll talk about him. And I flipped through it, and the ending is pretty great.
Ooh.
So, yeah. It's a pretty cool ending.
I think I might know this one.
Uh-oh. Oh, you've read this?
I have not, but no, I think I know where this one ends up because I think I remember hearing about it in some other story, like an Avengers story that kind of picks up afterwards.
Yeah, I never heard this. I was just flipping through old Hulk issues because this will be the third Hulk issue we've done on the show, but the other two were from the 1980s with Todd McFarlane and stuff. So this is our first 70s Hulk that we're actually doing on the show.
Well, we did that Hulk like magazine. Remember, was it like Rampaging
Hulk? Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Rampaging Hulk. But in terms of Marvel Comics Incredible Hulk, boom, first 70s. But because that was what Black and White magazine. That one had the X-Men in it, I remember.
Yep. Yeah, that was good.
So, all right, next week Incredible Hulk 209, and
sweet.
Again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We'd appreciate it. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.